Hello there, I'm representing Gold Standard Radio and I decided to use my background, my experience, my knowledge to provide videos for them to help artists who are coming to the UK understand the expectations of the UK government. It really does look like the UK government is making it really, really difficult for people from the outside to come to the UK and perform. But I guess if you're thinking about established professional artists, it's not difficult because they will have the funds. And the criteria for artists to come to the UK has a lot to do with how established and how professional they are. So maybe I'll have to take that back. Maybe it's not that it's difficult, it's just that it could be quite an expensive venture to come to the UK because you need to be able to come for an interview, which means if you have to come for an interview, it means you have to come to the UK and pay for that expense and plus place to stay for the duration of while you're here doing the interview. This needs to be done prior to your visitor's visa being approved. Now, this only applies, of course, if you are coming to the UK on a permitted paid engagement. Permitted paid engagement, of course, by nature of its title, means you can come to the UK to be paid for an event, a performance that you're about to do. So I know that time runs out very quickly, so I'm going to resort to my notes so that you have a rough idea of what to expect. Permitted paid engagement for recording artists. They're going to have to come through the standard visitors visa route before they could apply independently. Now it's been merged with the visitors visa, and that comes with a lot of requirements. And so the standard visitor visa is for foreigners entering into the UK as a tourist, and so artists will come under that category. I think there are 6 countries that do not need a visa. I think it's Canada, Australia, South Korea, China, Japan and Australia. Oh, New Zealand. Well, I'm not quite sure. Just check whether or not you need a visa to come into the UK. So you can get married if you come to the UK on a visitor's visa, but you cannot live in the UK after you've got married. You'd have to be prepared to live in your country or the country or another country, but you cannot get married in the UK and live in the UK. Used to be the case where people would come over here, get married just to stay in the country. You can't do that anymore. Okay, on a visitor's visa, I'm going to just go through what you can do. You can study up to less than 6 months. You can take an exam. You need to have a genuine intention to leave before the 6 months. You can go on an interview. Of course, if you go on an interview, you have to wait till all the processing and the sponsorship and everything has been done before you accept the job or before you start the job. You have to have the visa fee, which is £115 for up to 6 months. You have to have the financial acumen, and that can be quite considerable. That will cover you for the duration of the stay. Now, when you're going to apply, this is what you're going to need. This is the information you're going to need. You're going to need travel dates. You're going to need the address while in the United Kingdom. Who are the people you're staying with? Are they family members? Are you going to stay in a hotel? Need to have, and of course, they are going to be checked, whoever you're staying with. So you have to make sure you give credible names and addresses, and that the people who you're staying with have no involvement in crime or anything like that. Okay, that's off the record, but I'm telling you that because that is common sense. They're not going to allow you to come and stay with people who have criminal records. Okay, you have to have the estimated cost of your visit. So you're going to have some kind of budget written out so that you can show them how much it's going to cost, so they can know whether or not you have done your homework. and you have factored in everything necessary for the stay, depending on how long you intend to stay. You have to give your home address. That's the home address of the place where you live, your home country. You have to give the length of time lived at the home address. In the UK, it's usually a minimum of 3 years. So they're looking for stability here. Something's just come in. They're looking for stability, so they're looking for you to have lived at the home address in your home country for at least 3 years. I'm just saying that. Or if you haven't lived there for 3 years, you're going to have to give them 3 addresses, and they have to be verifiable addresses for the past 3 years. I'm giving you extra info which they do not supply, but what I suspect they need. Okay, you need to give, this is new as far as I'm concerned, you need to give the names, date of birth of both parents. That's a new one. You have to give your annual income, so that means you cannot be unemployed, I would think. You have to give details of any criminal, civil, immigration offences. That makes sense. You have to show your travel history for the past 10 years. You have to give your employer's address and phone number, so they have to prove that you are working where you say you're working. And it's not a question of you just going to one of your mates and saying, look, if you get a call from the UK, tell them I've worked here for 6 years, because they are going to be looking for pay slips, P60s, tax records for you for however long you said you've worked at this firm. So you can't be messing around and playing around and wasting people's time. You have to be authentic and genuine and sincere. Okay, you need your partner's name, if you have a partner, your partner's name, address, date of birth and passport number. That's a new one on me. You have to have details of family members you have in the UK. So I guess if you jump ship, they want to know who your family members are so they can get in contact with them. So make sure they're authentic, because they're going to be checked out. And if, depending on which country you're coming from, you're going to need a tuberculosis test certificate. And like I said, that depends on which country you're coming from. You'll have to, because with the PPE, you have to do this visitor's visa first. That's why I'm letting you know. Before you can apply for the permitted payment, you have to do it after you've done the application, and you kind of, I think there'll be a section that says, are you intending to do paid work, and that's where you put the permitted paid engagement information in there. So I'm just telling you, so what you'll need for the standard visitor's visa. So you'll need to complete the visitor's visa application online. You'll need to pay the application fee, which is non-refundable. So if you've made any mistakes or errors or omissions, it'll be on you. You need to book an appointment with visa application centres and attend a VAC appointment to provide documents, biometrics done there, and the telephone. Well, in certain cases they'll do a telephone interview, but it does appear that you need to leave your country, come to the UK and attend this interview, so they can get your biometrics and stuff. And your permitted paid engagement must have been arranged prior to your travel to the UK, at least 30 days before arrival. Application for your permitted paid engagement must be made online with www.gov.uk, and it'll be under the PPE section. You must have an invitation letter from whoever is sponsoring you to come over, and your engagement must be completed within 30 days of arrival. You must be over 18, and you must be able to show evidence of any shows, media releases, publicity material, anything that shows that you are a professional artist and you are an established artist. So they're not accepting the PPE for any emerging artist, I wouldn't think, unless of course you're on X Factor or Britain's Got Talent and they're sponsoring you, and then they'll tell you what to do. So I think that's about it. I'm sorry I had to race through it, but I hope it's